Hi, this is Meg Moranis, and I am here to talk to you today about something that is very much in the news and very gets a lot of positive, you know, people, a lot of positive reinforcement on YouTube and all other kinds of things, where people explain why you should do keto. So I've done keto, so I feel very, very uh, informed to tell you exactly what keto did to me and what I think it will do to you too. Keto causes fast weight loss. Yes, 100% fast weight loss. And you're not hungry. So that's a pretty amazing package, right? And that is why it's popular. But I'm going to compare it to like a drug, right? I know it's not, but I'm just going to compare it. Just bear with me here for a second. It is like a drug in the sense, a drug that, a recreational drug. So it gives you what you want and it gives you what you want quickly. But the payback, the aftermath of it is devastating, seriously devastating, because it changes your relationship with food and eating, and it really, really pushes that good food, bad food mentality. So I'll tell you about the first time I did keto, because I did it more than once, because, it took me a while to figure this out too. I was in college and I came downstairs one morning and I lived in a house or a thing on campus with a group of people. And my roommate was like frying up bacon and eggs. And I knew she wanted to lose weight. And I'm like, what are you doing? And she said, oh, well, there's this diet called Atkins. And I did it in high school and I'm doing it again because I really lost weight really well on it. And I'm like, well, and so I read about it because, of course, I wanted to know what was going on with that. And, I learned that Atkins, like keto is not new, folks, okay? It's not new. It's basically completely cutting out all carbohydrates and focusing on protein and fat. So your body goes into ketosis. And I talked about this last week too, but you do things like measure your test your urine, whether or not you're in ketosis. And the minute you eat something like a carbohydrate that is not part of the keto program or Atkins program, you go out of ketosis. So it sets you up for this good, bad. Like I'm good because I've not had any carbs. I'm bad because I've eaten one. And look, now I'm testing myself and I'm not in keto anymore. So it really screws you up that way. It makes you think that you're either on a diet, off a diet, which of course you are, but it makes you, further than that, it makes you think you're being good or bad. And it sets you up for the kind of mentality that is like, well, I am already blown it today, so I'm just going to keep eating. And that, you guys, is where a lot of weight gain occurs. It's in that giving up in the moment, giving up, staying in the moment and saying, okay, well, I've already blown it. I'm already out of keto or I'm already off my diet. And I'm highlighting keto because keto for me was the worst that way. And I know that's true for many, many of you guys. So the really coming part of this is that the weight loss that is fast is enticing, and it makes you want that, and it makes you remember that. Like, think about my friend who in college went on Atkins, and she said, well, I did this in high school. I lost weight. I'm doing it again. And she did lose weight on it. But she was always gaining it back and then going back on this fabulous diet because the diet worked. But guys, the whole point of the message here is that diets don't work if you have to stay on them for the rest of your life in order to keep the weight off. That is not what you want. What you want is a way to eat where you're eating reasonably for the rest of your life and losing weight, and not setting yourself up for this roller coaster of losing weight, gaining weight back, losing weight, gaining weight back, because that destroys a really important relationship in your life, the one with food, eating, and your body. And again, I can tell you, I not only did Atkins once, I did variations of that several times. And yeah, I always lost weight really quickly. And you guys, think about this. Think about this when you're sitting there trying to figure out what to do. Can you make yourself remember how really crummy it is when, after you go off something like keto or any other quick weight loss diet, when you get that reckoning with the scale where you've gained weight and you feel like you've not been eating a lot. So I remember doing keto, losing weight, getting down to like, oh wow, this is where I want to be, yay, and going off it and saying, okay, well, I'm not gonna pig out or anything. I'm just gonna kind of be careful. But even being very careful and eating like 1,000 calories a day, but some carbs in there, gaining 3, 4, 5 pounds in a day. And that is the misery of keto. Unless you are willing to stay on it for the rest of your life, then you're going to gain the weight back, and you're going to gain it back quickly, and you're going to gain back fat instead of the muscle and fat you lost. And you're going to set yourself up, again, for a lifelong relationship with food and eating that is stressful, that does not work, that does not make you slim. It makes you either a long-term dieter, always dieting, always worried, or a yo-yo weight gaining up, or just giving up because you think, well, if this is how it is to be thin, I can't do this because I can't stay on this diet. Okay, right, but those aren't your choices. The choice that I want to direct you to is, of course, the message here, which is stop thinking like a dieter and start thinking like a naturally thin person. And a naturally thin person, a healthy, thin mentality person, doesn't demonize entire food groups. Like I was watching something, or maybe it was online, and it was a new thing out called, well, it's not that new, but it's called the plant paradox, where, okay, now if you want to eat plants, there's all these plants that are actually really bad for you, that all lead to inflammation and all this stuff. And so this doctor was on there talking about him and his family, and how they all eat some plants but not other plants. And of course we're all crazy with this. What are you supposed to do? Everywhere you turn, there's a different expert talking very, it seems authentically about, what food thing is good for them and how this worked and saved this. But if you flip, the channel, or if you go somewhere else online, you find a completely different message. So what I come to think about all that is that, all of these diets or these protocols of what to eat and what not to eat make you eat less, because you can't possibly eat enough, of this particular type of vegetable, to gain weight, but you're so restricted that it doesn't last. So all of them have that initial rush of weight loss, all of them. And if you're a doctor, and you've been, struggling to help your patients or help yourself or help your family, and you find something that gives you that, well, then you're really inclined to say, wow, I found it. This is the thing. But it's not the thing. It's not the thing at all, because it doesn't work long term. And because just think about this. If in order to be thin, or, in your happy, healthy weight range, whatever that is in your head for you that you decide, means eating in a bizarre way that would not have been something that your grandparents would have approved of, or like for me, my grandmother, like she would have looked at us today and gone, you guys crazy? What is it? You're just not ever going to have bread? What is that? That's silly. That's silly. Or you say, oh, well, I'm never going to have red peppers because they cause inflammation. Really? We've been eating red peppers for the generations and generations and generations with no problem. But now all of a sudden we're saying, well, that causes inflammation. It's all these leaps to judgment about certain food groups, when let's get to the main problem with all of us and food. And do you know what it is? We eat too much. We eat too much. Too many calories in. And don't let that make you go, oh, now she's going to tell me I can't eat a lot. Listen, guys, I say this every week. When you can eat what you crave, when you're hungry, you don't want more than that. And if you're going, oh, well, that's her. Look, she's reasonable weight. She doesn't care about food like I do. That's not true. That's not true at all. When I was a dieter, I would never have believed that I would say this. Okay. And I was a dieter for 25 years. Believe me, I know your mentality. And you make judgments about yourself that are not true, because you make judgments about yourself after you've been on a diet. So for me, like if I went on Atkins or keto of some sort, or whatever the heck diet, and I went on so many because I was really trying, just like a lot of you guys are, then after the diet, how I behaved is how I thought I really was. But that is not how I really was, and that's not how you really are. How you really are is you without a diet looming in your future. When you take the thought that you're going to be on a diet out of the picture, so there's no because when you are eating and let's say you're overeating and you know you're overeating, you go, well, yeah, but I'm a good dieter. I'll just go on a diet Monday, and I know I lost 5 pounds last week, really quickly by doing Atkins. I'll just do that again, or by doing whatever diet you cleanse or whatever. It changes how you behave in that moment. It makes you eat more. So the thought of the future diet makes you eat more. I talk about this in my book. I remember so well when I was 20 years old, and my stepmother was a big dieter. And so I remember her bringing out all these desserts one night after we'd had dinner and said, well, we're all going on a diet tomorrow, okay. And so let's just eat all this. So I remember even at that time thinking, this is so stupid. I'm going to sit here and eat these 2,000 calories or whatever the heck, 1,500, whatever it was, if I ate all the desserts that were out there, because I'm going on a diet tomorrow. But, that was like the first time I remember that happening. But I did that also to myself later, because it's kind of a normal human reaction to the impending diet. So not only do diets not work because they make you regain weight anyway, they also make you gain weight before you go on them, right? And you've been there where you're like, well, I'm just going to eat this whole plate of French fries because tomorrow I'm starting my diet. But can you please hear this? If you can eat whatever you want whenever you're hungry, the desire to overeat is gone. It's gone. And my message is, if my message is for you people like me who've dieted a lot in your life and you've managed to diet, but you always gain the weight back. If you've ever been able to lose weight on a diet, then you are disciplined. You are amazing, because it's really hard to stay on a diet. If you can do that, you can do this. But the biggest thing you have to do is get the noise out of your head that diets are the way to be thin. Diets are the way to be a dieter. I'm going to quickly look over here and let's see these questions. There's so much opposing information out there. Yes, a healthy thin mentality is simple because Mother Nature is smart, or God, or whoever you want to give credit to our beautiful bodies. Your beautiful, amazing body that you only have one of. You're on this earth for a short period of time, and you're going to just trust your body, and you're going to go down some path where you can never eat bread. Okay, that's stupid. It's stupid. And I did it many times, so believe me, I'm not, I'm right there with you. But I'm telling you, with the benefit of hindsight, which I have now and I want to share with you, is that's not a way to run your life with food. That is a way to make yourself nuts over food and to make you more attracted to bread. Okay, so let me tell you a quick thing. We have this amazing bread in where I live in Cincinnati. It's called Bad Boy bread, and it's just so divine. So last night, that's what I had for dinner. I had this big wad of bread and butter on it. I was by myself, and it was just so delightful. So, and I I always am thinking about this because I do this blog now, or vlog, what someone would look at this and say, this is so unhealthful, but nutrition doesn't happen at every meal. It happens over time. So earlier in the day, I'd had totally different food. I don't even remember now, but I just know from studying myself now over these years that if I eat a bunch of bread and butter at a sitting, generally speaking, the next meal is completely different, and it's vegetables or whatever. Now, I'm not saying that, so then you push yourself towards that, because maybe you're going to eat bread 2 meals in a row, and that's still okay, as long as what? As long as you're hungry when you eat it. Nothing is fattening when you're hungry. Everything is fattening when you are not. Everything is fattening when you are not hungry. Everything is fattening. Even that kale. It's still fattening because your body isn't asking for it and you're putting it down. And when you eat foods like kale because, you can just eat so much and it's no calories, you're training your body to accept being overloaded with food. And that is not what you want. The purpose of building your healthy thin mentality is to eat less, but to eat less in a way that is harmonious and fun and joyful and freaking fabulous. I promise you guys, there is no comparison. If I could I don't know how else to get this point across, that eating with hunger is amazing. And you think you're hungry all the time, but you're not. You're only hungry all the time because you've been on so many diets and your body's all out of sync. And the way to get back in sync is to start listening to hunger and calmly satisfying it just until hunger is quiet and moving on with your day. I'm going to go over here. How can I deal with cravings when thinking that I can have it later? It doesn't help. If I want the candy now, I want it now. I probably won't want it, and I know later I probably won't want it. Okay. The other thing I ate last night was those big chocolate bars. I probably ate half of one because I wanted candy now. You can eat candy now if you're hungry for candy now. And I think it's really, so cravings, have such a bad connotation. Like they're bad, or you're craving that, don't eat it. What is that? If you're craving that, maybe you need it. And there's studies out there. about there's stuff in chocolate that's really good, depending on time of the month for women and men, I guess. But there's reasons that you might crave that. And another thing about craving chocolate, for me, it's chocolate, not really candy bar, but chocolate. I remember eating things that had just a little bit of chocolate in them when what I really wanted was the chocolate, but I'd eat something that wasn't as bad as eating chocolate. Let's say like a scone with chocolate in it. So I'd eat the scone part, which I didn't really want, so I could have the little bit of chocolate that I did want. Well, how about you just eat the little bit of chocolate that you do want? And you guys, look at the label on chocolate. A large chocolate bar. I'm only telling you this because I think as a dieter, when I stopped dieting, I was really surprised when I started looking at calories of not surprised because I knew what they were, but when I really thought about it, you can eat quite a bit of chocolate and it's not going to ruin anything. It's just fine. It's just fine. And it's highly satisfying. And so I think when you're thinking craving and you're trying to get rid of a craving, how about you just try satisfying it? As long as you're hungry, as long as when you put it in your mouth, it's really amazing. And if you're saying, if I want the candy now, I want it now. Later, I probably won't want it, and I know that already. Well, okay, but don't worry about the future. In this moment, you're craving, you're hungry for X. Eat it. Eat it. Get on with your day. Eat it and move on. Because the longer you sit there and think about it and crave it and suppress that craving, it's going to come out bigger later on. That's the whole thing. Now, I want to emphasize here that cravings without hunger are okay. Cravings with hunger are amazing, and it's worth waiting for amazing. And sometimes it's interesting. You say if you want the candy now, later I probably won't want it, and I know that already. Well, that's interesting, but I also will tell you that cravings are like that. Sometimes you are craving something, and maybe since you're new with this, I don't mean you specifically, but somebody, you're having a hard time figuring out exactly what it is. So you might take some time to notice what cravings come in and out, and notice, let's say you ate the candy. Was it great? Was it really great? Yeah, well then good. That was a really enjoyable food experience, and that will take you a long way, right? It will take you a long way because you've connected craving, being hungry for something wonderful, eating it with no guilt. Because if you're hungry, a candy bar is not fattening, guys. It's like a little Snickers bar. I think they're 230 calories. I could be wrong, but I think they're 230 calories, like a normal, regular-sized Snickers bar. Okay, so is a yogurt. I mean, we get so weird with, oh, well, I'm going to eat a yogurt because I'm hungry, but I'm not eating that candy bar. You guys, I know the yogurt has more nutrition in it, but nutrition isn't our main problem. We're eating too much. That's our main problem. And someone will say, oh, but we're eating too much because we're eating food that isn't nutrition dense. I don't buy that. I don't buy that. We're not that delicate. We are just not that delicate. Eat the food you crave when your body calms down because it realizes that, hey, man, I'm craving this and she's answering it or he's answering it. I feel good. I move on. And then I crave something else. And wow, I surprise myself because I crave green beans or with almonds slivered on and steamed, and they're just so good. I can't believe I'm craving this. These are the kinds of experiences you need to key in on, and you will. You really will. Needing encouragement here. Last week was a wreck for me, starting week 8, but I think I need to do week 7. Please remind. Okay, yeah. Yes, it takes time, because remember, how many years were you a dieter? For me, it was 25 years, and now it's been 20 since then, okay? But the damage done to you by your diet takes a while to undo. But I want you to think logically. You can solve this problem once and for all, and not only solve the problem, but actually introduce amazing joy into your life by ditching that diet mentality. That's a phrase I love to use. Ditch that diet mentality. Leave it behind. And in the vacuum of that diet mentality, because there is a vacuum, because all those diet mentality thoughts like, I'm going to go on a diet tomorrow so I can eat this now, or, well, I really want, a candy bar, but I'm going to eat this yogurt because this yogurt is better for me. You're fine. Most of us are fine. Okay, again, we're not that delicate about nutrition. All these diet thoughts get in the way of us connecting with the wisdom in our bodies, where your body, for some reason, wants the cocoa powder that's in chocolate, and you need it, or whatever the heck it is. You need it. Then honor that. And honor that in an amount that's reasonable, right? That's a key. That's a reasonable amount. What is reasonable? What is reasonable amount is what is relevant. And what is relevant is when you're hungry for it. When you eat anything without hunger, that's major disrespect of your body. And I know that sounds kind of righteous, but you will get to a point with your healthy thin mentality that you will be able to have food around that you have zero desire to have. Another story, I had family in town, Thanksgiving and all, and I had this, those domed things with a bunch of sweet different things under it, different varieties, because I didn't know people like for sure. And someone said to me, my God, how do you have that in your house and just not eat it all? And, I forget that I used to be that way. I used to never be able to have that in my house. Or if I had it out for company, the next day I'd throw it out because I wasn't going to be sabotaged by that food. When you have a healthy thin mentality, there is no such thing as being a victim of food, ever. You're like, if I want that, and it was a lovely array of things. There were scones and little vegan cupcakes for someone I know who's a vegan and a few little things. And they were all great. And I love them all. But without hunger, there's no way I'm putting that in my body because it feels weird at this point to eat without hunger. And that's where I want you to get. And Linda, back to needing to do week 7. Go on to week 8. Go on to week 8 and read week 7 too. Okay, so because there may be something in week 8 that triggers you really well. I mean, I tried to put as much different kinds of language and little triggers to help as many different people as I could in the workbook. So there may be something in chapter 8 that helps you more than chapter 7. Who knows? But I also say to any of you guys who have the workbook, go through it a lot. Make that thing a tattered mess. Write on it. Write where your success with pairing food with hunger. Write about that. Write how great that felt. And be your own research, your own scientist about you. Like what makes you feel good, and what makes you feel poorly? What energizes you? What food do you love? And you guys, it's so fun to have food that you love. It's so nice to discover your food personality like you did when you were a little kid. And I write about that in the book too. Like, remember when you were a little kid and you'd go around the table and, oh, I love this, oh, I don't love that, and everyone would have their own thing. And now we don't even know. When I was a dieter, I had no idea what I really liked. I had no idea. Now I know, and it doesn't take long. I mean, of course, for me, it's been a long time, but if you just keep reminding yourself that this is nuts what we're all doing. It is nuts to go on all these diets over and over, and all this angst about food and eating. And I said this a week or something ago, and it's kind of weird, but it's a really good way to think about this. What if you had to go to the bathroom on a schedule? Wouldn't that mess you up? Oh no, you can't go now. You have to wait. Oh, well, I need to go now. Well, no, you're going to go later. Okay, great. How disconnecting and disconcerting would that be? And it's not so different. It really isn't. Yes, this mental shift is huge and can be a struggle. Leah, the reason it's a struggle is because you've seen so many messages over your life that are contrary to this, because people make money off of having specific food programs. And I also want to say, that they're not all these people, and the doctors I see, the one who does the plant paradox, they probably really believe this. But, I don't know. Maybe it's because I've been around a while and I've seen all this stuff come in vogue and out and lived it myself. So even if they're not malintentioned, they're misinforming you. There's nothing that they can say or write down, any formula they can give you that is smarter than you. They're the body that you're and the body that you're living in is completely designed for you. Maybe some plants cause inflammation in people from Argentina, but not from Ireland. I don't know. It would be reasonable to think that there were different ancestral components to how you digest food. Wouldn't that be reasonable? I think it would be reasonable. So why are you going to listen to a universal message meant for people all around the world when you live in a specific space and you are from a specific area and you have that gene pool right in there? I'm getting it. YouTube is not receiving a video. Okay, so I have the same problem, but I think it might be hunger. I usually feel it in my stomach for breakfast, lunch, but after that I usually feel more tired and I take it as hunger. Okay, if you are tired after you eat, for me, okay, this is for me. This may not be for you. For me, that means that whatever that food was didn't work well for me. Okay, and for me, and I've said this many times, if I eat sugar in the afternoon, I don't feel well. So I don't eat sugar in the afternoon because I'm listening to my body, right? So that's what you need to do too. You need to say, wow, I ate this. Let me read this again. I think it might be hunger. I usually feel it in my stomach For eating, feeling it in your stomach is fine. After that, I usually feel more tired and take it as hunger. Yes, and hunger can also be absolutely expressed as fatigue. So, what your question is asking, what your question is pointing to, is you getting to know you. And I encourage you to take notes. I know that sounds goofy, but it's, you're kind of worth it, aren't you? To figure out what makes you feel good, to remember what made you feel poorly. To say, oh well, when I had, a hamburger in the afternoon, I felt great, but in the morning, if I eat a thing, something like that, I feel terrible. Whatever it is, I'm making stuff up. Just whatever it is, take note, because it's your body giving you really excellent information about what you need. So let's listen to it, right? Let's listen to that, because it's really important. I meant to having a craving while not being actually hungry. Okay, this is back to a question. Men having craving while not actually being hungry. Okay, this is a tricky area, because for me, sometimes a craving is hunger, right? And we just suppress craving as hunger because it's such a demonized word. But sometimes, like, I can just feel it in my mouth, like, I just want to chew on chocolate, whatever. In my experience, that's okay, and that can be hunger too. If that makes you nervous, you're like, oh, but I really don't think I'm hungry. Again, if you take a bite of a candy bar or whatever, and your mouth is just explodes, your taste buds explodes, and you feel better, it was probably hunger. That's my experience. And again, we're all different. We all have different backgrounds. So figure out if that's true for you. See how you feel. And again, all you guys who have cravings, we just disrespect them. Cravings are really important. And it's not evil to crave candy. That maybe you need a hit of sugar. Maybe you did something that, depleted that in your body, and so you need more. Well, that's pretty reasonable, isn't it? A candy bar is not a bad thing in and of itself. It's only bad, and it's not bad, it's only irrelevant in its relationship to you. If you're not craving it and you're not hungry, and you eat a candy bar because it showed up at work, someone put it on your desk to be funny or nice, and you just eat it, you're not craving it, you're not hungry, that's what you want to avoid. If you're craving a candy bar, again, remember, I don't want you counting calories, but look at that candy bar. It's like 230 calories. It's okay to, if you're saying, well, I wouldn't eat just one, well, maybe you would. Maybe when you were really free to eat that, feeling completely unstressed and guilt-free, maybe it would be enough. I used to think if I was going to eat a candy bar, I'd want the big giant king size one that they sell at the movie theater. No, I don't. No, I don't at all. I want to eat some, and it quickly really does the trick. So just try that. And I know that really goes against a lot of what you've heard, but a craving is a message from your body that you need something. And let me just quickly divert over to like the emotional thing. People say, well, I'm just eating emotionally and all that. I talked about that a little bit last week, but you guys, food is emotional. It's life, right? What's more meaningful or emotional than something that gives you life, right? So we're all eating emotionally all the time. We're taking care of ourselves, protecting, our nourishing. That's all keyed into our heart and our soul and our protection of ourselves. So that's okay. Just make sure when you're eating that it's just really a lovely, wonderful experience, that you're feeling it, that it feels good, it's nourishing, and then you're satiated more quickly because it's so good. I know I missed one up here. How long did it take you to build your healthy thin mentality? It took me, I would say, to really have it sunk in was a year. And I would say that major shifts in happiness and stress-free happened within the first month. So I'm never going to lie to you and tell you this is a 6-week program, because I'm not a liar. And I want you to succeed, and I want you to know the truth. But when you go through a whole year and you hit every season, you start getting like, you remember last Christmas how I felt, and I was just starting this, and I went through, and it was really nice. You just have that own personal memory. So I think the year did something for me. It's like an anniversary. Yeah, I've made it through this year. I feel really good. I no longer am stressed at parties, blah, blah, blah. Did you keep exercising? Yeah, because exercise is really good for you. It's not for weight loss. It will not make you lose weight unless you are doing some crazy stuff. It will not. It will not make your abs show. What makes your abs show is lack of fat, body fat around your middle. Like I see all these people, this is how to, do your abs, planks and everything. Planks are great, when you just take a yoga move. Those are great. but your abs are in there under a layer of fat, perhaps, which is fine. But if you want your abs to show, the fat needs to get less. It's not that you need to build your abs. You need the fat to go away so you can see them, because they're under there holding you up all day long, right? And most people don't want bulging abs. Maybe you do if you want a big six-pack or whatever, but most people just like want to be able to see some definition. That just comes from fat loss. You don't have to do any weird exercise for that. But you should do exercise, and I say should, just like you brush your teeth, because it's really good for you, and it feels good, and it also, it endomorphins or serotonin, everything, not endomorphins, serotonins, all these beautiful things get chemicals that are released in your body when you exercise. And if I don't exercise because I'm busy or whatever, I don't feel good, and I don't feel well, and then I exercise and I feel better. So yeah, I've always exercised because I always knew that was a big deal. And I was a trainer, and I worked in the fitness industry, and there was no way ever in my life I won't exercise because it's that good. And because I don't beat myself up. And if I feel sick one day, I don't exercise. Or if I'm super tired, I don't. But when I feel good, I do. And same thing like with the eating. You listen to your body, and you don't bully yourself. You don't punish yourself with exercise. Oh, I ate so much at dinner last night. I'm just going to go on the treadmill for an hour today or an hour and a half. What a waste. Yes, I did that. Yes, of course. But I'm telling you, it's a waste of your life. It really is. Okay. I have the same problem, but I think, okay. How can you be sure you're hungry? Amy, okay. We've got a lot about hunger in the workbook and everything. I'm just saying in case anyone's interested. But the way you know you're hungry is that when you take food in your mouth, your taste buds ignite, your body gets happy, and you feel really good. And you have energy afterwards. It is something that if you're not sure, you can back into, which is really great. You can say, okay, I'm not sure I'm hungry. I'm going to have a few bites of this and see how I feel. And that is what I suggest. When you get more experienced with having a healthy, thin mentality, you will not need to ask that question, I promise. And it's great that you do now, of course. You're new at this, right? Of course you need help in the beginning, understanding what hunger is. But hunger is not just your stomach growling. Hunger can be expressed with a craving. It can be expressed with grumpiness and weakness and fatigue. All these things are your body going, hey, send something down, okay? Eat something. Those are the ways your beautiful body connects with you. And the thing that we do is we ignore that, and we wait for meal time because you're on a diet and they're telling you to eat this, this, and this. You have some nasty prepackaged meal sent to your door. They're making so much money on it. It's not special food. It's just less food. And so you're going to eat that, but you're going to perhaps, hunger is not a straight line. So let's say at 4 o'clock you're really hungry and you don't eat because you're going to have this diet meal. And then your hunger kind of edges off because your body's giving up, telling you, because you're not helping it at all. And then you get to that meal and you kind of don't even feel that great, and you eat it and it's not wonderful. And don't do that to yourself. When hunger is bright and blooming, say, fantastic, and eat. And again, I know you're saying, well, how do I know when it's hunger? Okay, so you're not sure, so you back into it. You take a bite of something. How does that make me feel? Do I feel better? Yeah, I feel a lot better. Okay, well then I'm going to have a little bit more here, and then I'm going to keep checking back in. And I didn't write this in the book because, but I've learned over the past few years that it helps people to slow down at first because it gives you a chance to check in with your hunger or lack of hunger. So that is a good idea. So even though I always say I eat really quickly, in the beginning, take a second and go, how do I feel now? How do I feel now? Took a year to click, and then the extra weight came. I'm having a hard time because I think I'm gaining, not losing. Linda, okay, with a healthy, thin mentality, our goal is to eat less, for sure, because that's where weight loss happens. If you think you're gaining weight, you have to say to yourself, okay, first of all, if you just came off of a diet, like right before you hit here, chances are, no matter what you do, you're going to gain weight. And if you start cementing a healthy, thin mentality, it will be less that you gain, and you'll more quickly go into weight loss mode. Okay, so yeah, I'm never going to lie to you. If you've just did Weight Watchers or keto particularly, or anything, any diet, any just diet you made up, after that, there's obviously you gain weight back. Just look at your history. And in the workbook, in the first chapter, is all about just looking at your history, reminding yourself of the truth. Okay, so but if you're in this mode and you're living with fear of gaining weight, that fear is a driving force in you, and you have to let that go. I don't mean you have to let go not wanting to gain weight. You have to let go fear of the future and stay in this moment and say, okay, what can I do to make myself most likely to feel good and to be in the body that I want? And that is staying in the moment and connecting with hunger over and over again, 3, 4, 5 times a day. Connect with hunger. I'm eating because I'm hungry, not because my mother told me to. Of course, my mother told me not to, or because someone said something mean to me at work, or because it's in the refrigerator and I don't want it to go bad, or because I'm going on a diet Monday. No. And that is, our necklace says, stay in the moment. Every time. There's no future, there's no fear, there's no guilt, there's nothing. All of that is irrelevant when it comes to eating. All there is, are you hungry? Am I hungry? Am I in this moment? Am I hungry? And I know I say that a billion times, but you're going to ask yourself that a billion times. Seriously. Am I hungry? And let everything else go, because if the dieting worked, no one would be here. Even watching this video or watching it later, no one would, because if diet worked, you wouldn't need this, right? Diets don't work. Like keto, the worst one of all, in my opinion. Really quick weight loss makes you feel high because your body, I was going to talk more about this just really quickly. Your body is thinks you're in real trouble because all your food is completely changed. So again, because your body is on your side, it shuts down hunger and it gives you extra energy so that you can fight off whatever demon is taking all your bread away, right? If you look at it really simply like that, and I think that's a reasonable way to look at it. So you completely disrupt your relationship with food, and then the minute you eat anything else that's not on that keto diet, you gain a ton of weight back, and that again is that's the worst feeling of all. So when you're sitting there going, Linda, when you're saying, okay, I'm really concerned I'm gaining weight, not losing, I would say to myself, okay, I want to really make sure I'm keeping in touch with hunger. And I really want to make sure I'm not pushing or pulling any future or past event into this decision. It's just about right now. Am I hungry? Am I hungry? No, I'm really not. Do I even, do I feel like I just emotionally I want to eat? Well, maybe, but maybe I can just pair that and need that just feeling like I want to eat because I know I'm not hungry. I'm really not hungry. Just wait an hour. And then maybe I'll be able to comfort myself with food, which is so reasonable, when I'm actually hungry. And then it will be completely relevant eating and it won't put weight on me, right? Does that make sense? So I want you to look at it all from a happy point of view. This is not deprivation. This is understanding that time is on your side. You will get hungry again really soon, and then it'll be amazing if you just delay a little bit. And time goes quickly. If you're hungry and you're on a diet and you can't eat, time drags. There's none of that with building your healthy thin mentality. It's all about the beauty of you connecting with you and you connecting with hunger. So I know there's just been a lot of talk on the private group this week. I've seen so many comments about, I'm just so tempted to do keto. Everyone's saying this and that. Guys, it's not new. It's the worst of all. Please don't do it. Please don't do it. Or I've had people do it and then come back here. And okay, but why put that off? You know what's going to happen. You're going to lose weight. Everyone's going to say you look great. You're going to gain it back. No one's going to say a thing. And here you are, right? I know. I did it myself so many times. If this video is helping you, please like, share, subscribe, help me get this message out there. It's needed. And I hope you had a great Thanksgiving. And, I love seeing the posts about people sharing their experience and also the conversation around the table, which is way too often about dieting, which is what a boring, stupid conversation to have over your beautiful Thanksgiving meal, talking about dieting the next day. That's just a shame. It really is. And boy, yes, I did that too. But I'm just saying, it's a shame. It was a shame when I did it, and it's a shame when people are doing it now. Anyway, great to be with you. Post questions. I will get to them. And have a great rest of the week. And yeah, I know the holidays are coming up. Build your healthy thin mentality. No worries. I'll talk to you soon.